Don't ever let anybody steal your happiness, folks. It's really not worth it.
Irrelevant news.
This TikToker went viral on Twitter for a very unusual reason.
So a few years ago, me and my friends started making a spreadsheet breaking down our incomes and availability for travel, and it looks like this. This is incredibly helpful. If you have your friends broken down here, from Sean, my top earning friend who makes over $5 million, to who we call Broke Bobby, who makes $125,000.
It makes absolute sense that their broke friend only made $125,000 in a year, folks. After all, we are living in America where it literally costs about $90,000 a year just for healthcare.
If Broke Bobby making $125K a year, then people got to start calling me Poverty Pete SMH.
Folks, it's evident that $125,000 is beyond broke. I mean, how's a person supposed to survive on that and have a yacht?
In my friend group, Broke Bobby would be called Bobby Bezos.
Well, in my friend group, Broke Bobby would be called Bobby, pass the checkbook and pay the bill already.
Imagine making 6 figures and still being called the broke friend.
You know, every so often there's a TikTok like this where somebody goes viral for bragging about how much money they and their friends make, and it's just so incredibly hilarious to me to see how out of touch people can be, because ironically, folks, Broke Bobby has a tremendous amount of wealth, because $125,000 a year is about 10 times the American minimum wage, and the American minimum wage is about 6 times the Brazilian minimum wage. But I guess at the end of the day, it's all about perspective. But all that aside, I really want to know why Twitter unverified Danny DeVito.
On Wednesday, Danny DeVito expressed solidarity with striking Nabisco workers. No contracts, no snacks, he tweeted. Today, Twitter stripped him of his verified status. DeVito confirmed to More Perfect Union.
Oh, sounds like Twitter is still a shithole. Anyway, folks, Jack Harlow responded to a fan, and it's going kind of viral.
Jack Harlow, there's no way you don't see my tweets about shows in New York. You see all of Milan's tweets, that means you see mine. You're so... I wasn't ignoring you, I was just following the instructions in your bio. New York soon.
Wait, what is Jack Harlow talking about instructions in her bio?
Don't interact if you're white.
Well, I guess that explains it. And now something that definitely needs a big explanation. What the hell's going on with OnlyFans?
OnlyFans says it will ban sexually explicit content.
So what you're telling me is that they want to shut down their business.
In order to ensure the long-term sustainability of the platform and to continue to host an inclusive community of creators and fans, we must evolve our content guidelines, the company said in a statement, adding that the changes come after requests from banking partners and payout providers.
More specifically, it appears that MasterCard is behind this push, according to many people on Twitter, who are saying that the platform will now require consent and proof of age in content uploaded to OnlyFans in order to process transactions. But what does that mean for sex workers on OnlyFans?
The company on Thursday said it would still allow creators to post nudity as long as it is consistent with our acceptable use policy, even though it was banning what it called the posting of any content containing sexually explicit conduct.
Wait a minute, so you're telling me that basically everything's going to stay the same? They're just going to start requiring verification for content uploaded to the platform? But I wanted to get outraged. How am I supposed to get outraged now?
The use policy prohibits violence, R-word, and lack of consent, among other content. It also bans the depiction or promotion of escort services, trafficking, or P-word.
I mean, on the surface, it seems like OnlyFans is trying to ensure that everybody involved in the production of the content is, safe and not at risk. But at the same time, it's confusing considering the huge backlash that resulted from this. Either there's some mix-up on the information that came out, or, sex workers are just really concerned, as they should be, that they're going to lose a huge part of their business.
The problem with OF is the only people being affected is sex workers, and not only are they affected, but being directly attacked. You can still post nudity, just not porn. Well, I won't be affected. Shame on OnlyFans for the direction they're going.
See, you have massive creators like Corinna Koff saying that apparently porn is dead on the platform. However, the platform itself seemed to say that as long as it's consensual and nobody was in danger in the production of the content, that it will be okay on the platform. Corinna wasn't the only one who spoke out against the situation. The conversation right now is really convoluted and confusing. I would probably attribute this to OnlyFans themselves for not providing a clear message as to what the changes are going to be. But at the end of the day, folks, we have to remember that this is the same platform that allowed Bella Thorne to come in and destroy its entire financial structure with one clickbait picture. And moving on from one confusing situation to the next, Noah Beck is out here defending James Charles.
When Beck tries to articulate the state of his friendship with Charles now, he explains, as much as I want to be open about it, there's not much I can say because people are so closed-minded.
Folks, it is so incredibly sad that we live in a time where people are just not open-minded about the things that James Charles was accused of allegedly doing. The world is just unfortunately not evolved enough to understand how devoted members of NAMBLA operate.
I haven't spoken with James about it. I haven't been like, yo, did you do it? I'm not going to do that. He continues. I'm just like, look, I know you, and I know who you are as a person. I know you'll be back soon. It's just a matter of time. You're not canceled. No one ever gets canceled.
Especially when that somebody confesses to allegedly committing a felony twice in a video that got tens of millions of views. Anyway, folks, Noah didn't only make comments about James Charles, he also shared his thoughts on Bryce Hall.
I can't be in too many many videos with Sway House members because brands will see that and they're like, oh, well, you're doing this with Bryce and he's not very, like, brand safe.
Oh, isn't it great to see that Noah Beck doesn't hesitate to distance himself from Bryce Hall, but when it comes to James Charles, he's all up in there. But in all seriousness, folks, I think Noah Beck is really talented when it comes to taking off his shirt and showing off his abs, but when it comes to talking, I think he should just shut the fuck up because he says some really stupid shit. And in other news, PewDiePie recently roasted Jeffree Star.
Hi, how are ya? Oh my god, you guys.
No, I don't care. Is that Shane? Oh, that's weird. When was this? Was that pre-cancel? Oh, this is weird. I'm in another era.
Excuse me, Mr. PewDiePie, but according to Noah Beck, nobody gets canceled, so that is most definitely not Shane before he got canceled.
Is that his fucking friend? Oh, man.
But we'll stock up soon. We've been a little busy.
Is that a fridge too?
Yeah, it's all empty right now. This is a fridge and freezer.
Double fridge!
That's
Yeah.
Is that more fridges? How many fridges do you have? How many fridges do you need?
Well, as my good friend Broke Bobby would say, you need as many fridges as you can fit in your kitchen, preferably at least 4.
I think a lot of people have the opinion that if they had like a big house like this, they would be like, yeah, I'll be happy. I'll made it. But dude, I hate living in this.
I absolutely disagree with PewDiePie, folks. I mean, who doesn't enjoy living completely alone in a Xanadu-like castle mansion in the middle of nowhere and having to walk 3 miles just to get to your 8 refrigerators so you can eat a popsicle? And speaking of popsicles, Logan Paul could sure use one in Puerto Rico right now because things are getting hot for him.
Logan Paul, can I get an autograph?
Reviews. Oh.
Just kidding.
Good one. Logan Paul, can I have your autograph? And you go, sure. He goes, just kidding. I like this good one, man.
Why does Mike Malak have to exist and literally ruin every moment? Seriously, I need answers. And speaking of answers, Ethan Klein had a lot of them on the comeback episode of the H3 podcast after they got suspended for an entire week because Keemstar snitched on them to YouTube.
So we got suspended, and then suddenly Trisha Paytas, my ex-bestie, was collaborating with Keemstar.
I mean, come on, folks. Do we really expect Trisha to pass up on the opportunity of collabing with a literal worst human being in the history of the internet, Keemstar? Those opportunities only come every once in a while when you're desperate.
I'll be honest with you guys. When I saw them, that she followed him on Twitter and then Keemstar was making a whole big deal, I was like, there's no way. It could be that she's just following him to catch up on stuff. Like, that's innocent. I was like, there's no way she's actually going to go on the podcast. Like, that's beneath even her.
You know, the one thing you got to give Trisha Paytas is that they're always willing to surprise you with how low they're willing to go.
Part of me wanted to take the high road on this and just ignore it. But at the same time, I'm so sick of her disrespecting me and my family and causing shit and just being so toxic, lying. And I'm just so freaking over her that I'm over it.
No, actually, don't blame Ethan. It must have taken a monumental amount of patience just to get through half of the bullshit that he's had to deal with since Trisha entered his life.
And so her response, by the way, to my one tweet that's saying I'm sad, she made 27 TikToks about me. She made a 42-minute video about me and 23 tweets about me.
And it should be noted that 99% of the videos that Trisha put out were literally a regurgitation of things that Trisha has said in the past or even previously, 2 seconds before in the video. I don't know if it's just me, folks, but recently I noticed that watching a lot of these Trisha Paytas videos where they're addressing all these different topics is pretty much like watching a live reenactment of a scratch CD playing the same 5 seconds over and over again. I know a lot of people don't even know what CDs are anymore, but trust me, if you knew what a CD was, you would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Girl, all I said was that I was sad. Did you really not expect me to be upset about this?
And Trisha wasn't the only one who reacted like that. Keemstar was tweeting up a shitstorm the entire time, fucking celebrating like a fucking buffoon that he is. And it's kind of ironic when you think about it because both of them did what they did because they wanted to get a reaction out of Ethan. And then when they got the reaction out of Ethan, they wanted to shame him for having a perfectly natural reaction and expressing it in a very natural way, which is just basically one tweet instead of 100 tweets celebrating or just digging in. Anyway, Ethan later addressed Keemstar, confessing to flagging 2 of Ethan's videos.
You just can't stand the heat, bro. You can't stand that I have a little puppet about you. Where's the puppet? Grab the puppet. I'm not gonna fuck the puppet. I'm not doing that. I've changed. I've reformed. Even though it's my constitutional right to be able to fuck this puppet, YouTube doesn't like it.
Well, I wonder what OnlyFans would think of that content. I'm sure Broke Bobby would be happy to pay for it. And now, palate cleanser.